In the human form of life, those who are self-controlled and expert in the spiritual science of Sankhya can directly see me along with all of my potencies. We find the following statement in the Vedas. Purushatve cha vishvaranmatma sahita prachinanena swapanna tam tamo vijanatam vadanti vijanatam pashyanti veda swastanam veda lokalokao madhye namritam vipsati evam sampanno etare sampashanam asanapipase ivabhijana. In the human form of life, the soul is fully endowed with intelligence to understand the spiritual knowledge. Thus, in human form of life, the soul may speak, realize knowledge, see the truth, know the future, and also understand the reality of both of this world and of the next. Taking advantage of the experience of mortal life, the soul in the human form may endeavor for immortality, and the human body is fully equipped to achieve the same. In such an elevated state, the soul is certainly well acquainted with the ordinary activities of animals, such as eating and drinking. The human form of life, Purushatva, is very significant because it affords us the opportunity to perfect our existence. The Sankhya system mentioned here is best illustrated by the instructions of Lord Kapila to his mother Devabhuti. Lord Kapila is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his mother approached him saying, this is Bhagavatam 3:25-7. Nirvinnanitaram bhuman asadindriyakarshana yena sambhavyamanena prapannantam tamapratu. I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. For because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Lord Kapila delivered to his mother a highly analytical summary of all the material and spiritual reality. It is significant that Lord Kapila did not discriminate against his mother because she was a woman, nor did he consider her incapable of understanding the most elaborate spiritual science, spiritual knowledge. Thus, in a Krishna conscious society of liberated souls, any man, woman, or child may become a great devotee of Lord Krishna without discrimination. It is also significant that in the highly intellectual Sankhya system, enunciated by Lord Kapila, the solid conclusion is surrender to the lotus feet of pure devotees and love of Godhead. In Lord Kapila's instructions in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he emphasizes the need to take shelter of the pure devotees of the Lord. In the present verse, Lord Krishna says, Sankhya Yoga Visharadaha, those who are expert in taking shelter of the pure devotees and who can thus understand the actual situation of this world are able to see Krishna in his personal form, along with his internal and external potencies. A spiritual master becomes bona fide by his full surrender to his spiritual master. But as explained in this chapter, one may also act as his own guru. This means that an intelligent and perceptive person can understand the nature of this world and his own limitations. Such a person then becomes very much inclined to associate with the pure devotees of the Lord and to receive the mercy of those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sankhya Yoga, as described here, refers to the rigorous intellectual progress of the Jnana Yoga system along with the devotion of Bhakti Yoga, which emphasizes the mercy of the lotus feet of the pure devotees. Actually, Jnana Yoga is a factor in the Bhakti Yoga system. Since Krishna is Jnanagamya, or the goal of all knowledge, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 10:10 that He personally enlightens a sincere devotee with all knowledge. In this chapter, Lord Krishna is training Uddhava to see the Lord's personal form in the course of his daily experiences in the material world. The Lord has already indicated to Uddhava that he will travel throughout the universe, throughout the world in samadhi or trance. And now Lord Krishna is preparing Uddhava to travel as a sannyasi, seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead everywhere. So we have been reading this beautiful section. We started with Uddhavji's question of how an impure and conditioned soul can easily follow the orders of the Lord, can easily align himself according to the orders of the Lord. Then in the Lord's reply, we've heard about the Lord is explaining how by observation and intelligence one can see the futility of material life and extricate oneself from the shackles of material affairs. So therefore a sadhaka should be very, very alert and attentive to be able to find, to be able to observe the discrepancies and work against them. The Lord is emphasizing the power of analysis, the power of observation. That if we just observe broad and deep enough, one can penetrate the sheath of illusion. But to what extent? The Lord had been explaining that this penetration of the sheath of illusion cannot happen to that extent that the entire problem is solved or one can drive out of the material world. But it can happen to the extent that at least the living entity will not be completely entangled and shackled. At least the living entity can move or drive himself to the right shelters. Specifically, Srila Jiva Goswami and Madhvacharya speak about the association of pure devotees as the right shelters. So at least one can drive himself to those right shelters, and there, by connecting to the right shelters properly, at the time of need and at the time of one can get the strength to solve the or to get disentangled completely, or to pierce through the problems completely. So this is the point which has been explained here, which we were emphasizing upon analytics, and so we're making the point that if this analysis is there, and basically that loses the material attachment. And just like our land case, when we had explosions, so it loses the rock pieces, which can then be picked up by the JCB. That is the example which we were taking. Then the Lord further explained that, therefore, the point which is coming is that, okay, the movement is a pushing movement, but unless there is pull from within, the pushing will not be very effective. That is the point. And then the Lord further explains that yes, the living entity has to be his own spiritual master, in the sense of, now this is in the sense of imbibition, in the sense of application, in the sense of that eagerness to at least stretch oneself and drive to the right shelters. Drive to the right shelters. So we're making the point that Maya Shakti never chokes us or blocks us completely. At least one has the freedom to drive to the right shelters. And there one can get further strength to complete its entanglement. So making the point, so one is his own spiritual master in terms of this self-directed pull, pull towards the eagerness to apply and follow, the eagerness to advance. We're making the point that directionality decides everything. If the direction is to advance, Krishna will show us. Krishna will show us a clue to take the next step towards it. That step may not completely solve the problem, but that step will be a step towards association or towards the real shelters where we can get further spiritual strength, which in due course of time will completely solve the problem or disentangle us. That's the point. So that's what some points what we discussed in our 2 days journey, 2-session journey. And the Lord is explaining further today's verse. Yesterday we also made the point how in that way the material world itself is a kalpataru, in the sense that in both sense, as Ishopanishad also described, the material world is also complete. It has complete facilities to keep us entangled for eternity, and it has complete facility to take us back to the spiritual world. It all depends upon what one wants, so that it all depends on the personal want. What is revealed is what we look for. So the material world is a kalpataru also. In today's verse, Lord Krishna is elaborating this theme further. The Lord is explaining that for one who is self-controlled and for one who is seeking searching after the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a person can find the Lord everywhere, anywhere, and anywhere condenses to become everywhere. That's the point. So just like if you have one successful model, it can be replicated very easily. Hundreds of replicas can be made. Similarly, if one is able to understand or relate with the Lord anywhere, that means in one's own particular setting, and anywhere in due course of time becomes slowly everywhere. That's the point. This is what the Lord is explaining here. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the human body is tuned for this self-realization. Means that realization of spiritual knowledge does not require any definition, any elaboration, or any explanation. The manifestation of real knowledge or realized knowledge just the manifestation itself uh, is all complete in the sense that nothing further is required, no explanation, no explanation is required. That means the living entity can understand without any external help once that realized knowledge dawns in the heart. Srila Prabhupada explains just like when a person eats food, then a person can find strength. He doesn't have to ask anyone what is happening to me. He doesn't have to learn about what mechanisms, what metabolisms are taking place, uh, what mechanism, metabolism, etc. are taking place. Doesn't have to understand any such thing like that. So one can find strength eating food immediately. Similarly, similarly, this self-initiated drive of the sadhaka to move forward leads to the or triggers the manifestation of the self-realized knowledge, and the realized knowledge is so beautiful that one can immediately understand what's happening, because one can immediately see the strength, find the strength, interface the strength. That's the point. Therefore, that potentiality is inherent in every living entity. That potentiality is inherent in every sadhaka, which is what the Lord is describing here. So that means the spiritual knowledge is so amazing, so beautiful that. So basically, it is like the more we churn, the more we learn. And if you don't churn, we simply burn. So don't be stern. That's the point. The more we churn, the more the knowledge reveals, the more the knowledge manifests. And this drive the Lord is describing when the Lord is saying that one should be his own spiritual master in terms of dragging oneself towards the application of the knowledge, towards the churning of the knowledge, driving oneself to the real shelters, which can offer us more practical, deeper, uh, more sustainable and scalable insights about the same subject matter. That's the point. That's the point. So the more we churn, that's why spiritual knowledge is to be played with. The more we play with, the more it's going to reveal. The more we keep it untouched, the less effective it is. That's the point. So the bhakti presents are very beautiful. The presents of bhakti, when we are eager and enthusiastic to follow, and even though we are faltering, the attempt and the struggle to follow itself results in divine mercy, which is basically that the Bhakti Devi picks us up. So the Bhakti Devi basically picks us up. That's how Bhakti is so beautiful. That's how Bhakti is so beautiful. And here the Lord is explaining in today's verse that how the two aspects which can help us in churning or following, that pull. The first thing which the Lord is explaining here is sense control. So we're just trying to control the senses automatically. We will see that the enthusiasm for spiritual life starts brimming up. When we let loose the senses, the enthusiasm goes down. But when we uh, the when a little bit also, when we keep the senses under control, then it starts brimming up like that. Just like so sense gratification basically saps the spiritual strength. That's what happens. And there is supply. Krishna is giving a supply from behind. But if the sapping power is too much, then one will feel drained out. That's what sense gratification does. Obviously, slowly it cuts and blocks the connectivity also. So the supply will only get blocked in due course of time. But due course of time is due course of continued sense gratification. That is one. But sense gratification saps away the supply. So we keep the sense gratification under control, then the supply will increase. And naturally, automatically we will see the enthusiasm and the eagerness is going to increase. That's the point. And therefore the Lord is studying sense control. The second aspect the Lord is telling you, searching after the Supreme. In whatever situation we are, the searching after the Supreme. In that regard, Prabhupada is giving the example of Mother Dimapati. Asking our Kapila Dev how, because of the disturbance of the senses, she's been down into the abyss of the clouds. So that's, and then Prabhupada is explaining so beautifully that how this tendency for surge, that is the jnana, is going to be very effective when the jnana is subservient to bhakti. So how does it become subservient? Bhakti is the goal of the jnana. So if the jnana is goalless, then it is going to become modern science. And it is going to mislead the people, right? As is what is happening today. But if it has a goal to obtain the lotus feet of the Lord, then the search is for the lotus feet of the Lord. Then that jnana, subservient to bhakti, works becomes a very powerful package. That package is called as Sankhya. Sankhya is not different from bhakti, but one is using the search algorithms for the intensification of bhakti. So then that is very powerful. And that practice can take one very far. How far? How far? The Prabhupada is explaining from the example of Uddhavji himself that actually Krishna is teaching him this knowledge to bring him to the level of being a sannyasi, Paramahamsa sannyasi, highest grade of sannyasi. So already is a Mahabharata, Uddhavji is a liberated soul. But the point is the Lord is giving him, is teaching us. That's the point. So he wanted Uddhavji to become. So the Lord is revealing basically by this package of training and practice of Sankhya can elevate one to the level of being a Paramahamsa sannyasi. That's how powerful it is. So what the Lord is describing here is not the starting features and fabrics of devotional service. What the Lord is describing here is very powerful machinery which can take one to the level of Mahabhagavat. Because the characteristic of Uttamadhikari or a person who have a platform is he sees Krishna. And this is the package the Lord is telling how to see Krishna everywhere. That's what the Lord is explaining here.
Everything is given with why to apply one's own intelligence. You can approach someone or we can wait there for mentoring. Why to apply our own intelligence and spend a lot of time understanding.
Yeah. Everything is given. Why to apply our own intelligence? We need to apply our intelligence because our faith doesn't build up otherwise. And if our faith doesn't build up, we don't pick it up. That's the problem. It's not that the principles of bhakti are not there in front of us. Principles of bhakti are there in front of us. Not very difficult. But person doesn't pick it up. That's all. So the whole point is okay, if one has unflinching faith, then everything can work out for such a person. But the problem is, many of us practicing sadhakas, we don't have that faith. Now, how to build that faith? And because we don't have that faith, either we don't touch don't only hold the principles to with an application perspective or with an application mindset, or we just hold it a little bit and some problem comes, we drop it and back again. So that is the point. So then how the transformation is going to take place? Like a patient doesn't eat the medicine, how is he going to be? But therefore in Kali Yuga, the problem is not overdoing, the problem is not doing. Because the point. That's the problem. So therefore we need that faith so much so that we can at least start applying and being steadfast. Bhakti ups and downs come, whatever ups and downs come. The point is being steadfast. That's the point. So for that, usage of analytics and intelligence can help us. Therefore, this analytics is not blind analytics, it's speculative analytics. It's not modern day theoretical physics or so on. It's just throwing, shooting arrows anywhere. It's not like modern day approach. This analytics is very much with the mindset of reaching to Krishna. Therefore, the analytics should be used in the direction of strengthening our need for association. Prabhupada is telling us. A person is genuine will very sincerely want the association of devotees. You see in Mahaprabhu's Leela, most of Mahaprabhu's parshals or associates, what are they asking? They are asking for association. If you see the Mahajanas, like Vishmadev, Blad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, what are they asking the Lord? They are asking for association. Very good. Thank you very much. Keep coming. So they are asking for association. That's the point. So the drive is only till association. The struggle is only till association, not till the dissolution of the material world, not till the boundaries of the material world. The association will take us further. That's the point. So the drive is only till the association. Therefore, this is not independent speculation. Right? This is very much within the presence of God. And this is very powerful. That is why the Lord is recommending. Because the Lord is recommending, therefore it's important. That's the point. So, and this has been emphasized everywhere. So, what is that? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also says this. What he says, Mahaprabhu Kripa Kariya Vichar Haribe Paibe Chamatkar. So, my stupid recitation of the verse, but it's something like this one. And Mahaprabhu's mercy is oceanic. Don't just believe it. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is telling, don't just believe it. And use all your capacity to understand how it is true. And if you use your capacity to understand how it is true, Chamatkar will happen. Why Chamatkar will happen? Because faith gets boosted. And one will say, okay, I need to just grab onto this. There's nothing other than this which is happening. So, so that's why we have to do something. That's why we have to be alert and attentive. Because if we are not alert, what will happen is that Maya will give a fake product, the genuine product. Like this company, the boat has some earphones, which is very costly. So there are some copycat boat companies also. They also do boat. So one original boat is suppose 1,000 rupees, 52,000 rupees, say earphone. The makeshift fellow will give it in 300 rupees. So if one is not attentive and alert, he'll get the makeshift. Maya is makeshift, no branding. So Krishna is full substance, no real branding, no real product. So one will not be able to have that. One will cheat it very easily. And that's what Mahadevi does. To those who are not attentive, Mahadevi presents Bhakti. Self-gratification within Bhakti. The person thinks it is Bhakti, no problem. But then spiritual life goes for a toss. And one is mentoring, Bhakti to God. So that is what Maya is actually. So therefore, the Lord is telling the intelligence has to be always on the work.
We are using our intelligence to get faith. We are using our intelligence to get faith. Yes. Does that mean that faith is on the platform of intelligence.
Faith is in our hands. Faith is in our hands. So therefore, simply if somebody is saying that I don't have faith, what to do? Then that statement doesn't have any meaning. Don't have faith, you work hard. Lord is telling how to build faith. Lord is telling how to build faith. Directly Krishna is telling. And so then saying, okay, I don't have faith, I don't have faith. And if you don't have faith, now build it up. Faith is like health, no? Somebody says, I don't have health, I don't have health. You don't have health, you take meals properly, you cannot take milk, fruits, vegetables, do some exercise, no? Just eating will not give health, no? Do some exercise, is it not? Live in a anxiety-free atmosphere, close to nature, model goodness activities. Health will develop, is it not? Anybody can develop health, is it not? So in the same way, one can develop health, anybody can develop health. One has to follow the process. This is the process, Lord is explaining. So therefore, we have to apply intelligence so that we do not gear down, seeing some illusion, seeing some alternative illusory, some illusory alternative with Maya keeps showing. Oh, why don't you try this? Similar to what you need, but it is for Maya. Like that. And we think, okay, seems to be cheaper price. That is the point. So many times Maya kidnaps, we don't know we are kidnapped. So that's why this avenue the Lord is explaining. Otherwise, spiritual life will become quite slow. I mean, that's a blessing.
Because ज्ञान चला गया तो भक्ति के लिए ज्ञान का अंदर तो चले गए नहीं तो जलता ही नहीं without jnana because we don't follow simply we are not like Prabhupada's conversation decided that Prabhupada said that we follow. Yes, stubborn people blinded by high academic education.
Nobody has been a sentimentalist. Even Prabhupada's generation disciples are also not sentimentalists because they had seen
the naked reality of it.
They had seen the harsh reality of the material.
For them, grass was not green on the other
For
side.
them, there was no green grass anywhere. Russia was not giving them admission, so they could not expose European grass anyways. So, and European grass is not legal anyways.
And that's a proper those who are done with material lust, for them it is very beautiful.
If they want to follow.
Yeah.
Not very easy otherwise. But once mercy is given and the road is given, then they can follow. So they had observations, you see. The first generation was not sentimentalist. Though somebody came, give us prasad, somebody came, give us some good food, looking like father, and seeing his face, seeing father, let us fight on your life. No, not like that. Let's see what is material. Yeah, let's see everything about the material. This is not. So, and when Prabhupada was giving knowledge, they were seeing that knowledge in action. They were seeing through that knowledge. So actually, rendering seva, rendering service is never sentimental. When we render service will reveal the reality of the world in a positive sense. See, when you go out preaching, you don't remain theoretical. You may say, okay, one may say, okay, this fellow is built up with the man just because he has that culture, this fellow like this fellow and all that, doesn't think much. No, whatever you may say, but if the person is engaged in seva, he cannot remain theoretical. But otherwise, how he can do seva? If he is engaged in seva, Krishna will reveal the naked reality of the world in front of him. You go for book distribution, do you not get realizations? Very strong with it. You go for preaching, do you not get realization? Do you not see, oh, such a shabby life? Thank God, I was saved by the Lord. I remember during PhD one day I had to go to one fellow. I had to go to my brother's marriage. My brother married that time. So I had to go to his room to get some physics notes or something. So I had entered one hall which was triple M. So such a shabby, dirty, dingy place, Such a shabby, dirty, dingy place, A triple M hall, very miserable. Chi. Who can stay in such a dark, dingy place, So, our circle is so nice, So many windows, it's so airy, it is so nice, You can stretch your hands and legs, to the fullest capacity and lie down, Not very shabby, dirty, dingy, Is it not, Yeah, this is like real opulence, There's so much air to breathe, There's so much good vibes around, Yeah, it's a very packed up, messed up, The corridor is also packed up, messed up, lights are not working, and the rooms are also like that, And very miserable actually. I just felt this is hellish, So that's the point. The uh, uh, so one will feel that okay, thank God I got saved. Similarly, this so I had taken this brother and his family to this that day was Tech Festival. Tech Festival. Uh, uh, yeah. So and so they wanted to go in and see also a little bit, I mean, I think they wanted to see a little more also. But we just came out after 2 minutes. So we went in, and there was one lady on the stage, some pink dress, northeastern face, something like that. Some, and she was singing some blah blah, and obviously some fellows were playing instruments behind. And all these KGB fellows, they were like mad, intoxicated, they were jumping up and down, they were dancing, they were doing babe, as I say, some new this, they were, yeah, and those kind of things. And I was thinking, how miserable, They don't have any juice in their lives, these fellows, At Stone Juice also they are jumping up and down, Yeah. That Stone Juice also they're jumping up and down. So useless, So I mean, stones don't give juice. Therefore, in metal life there is actually no juice. That's why I'm saying stone juice. Like that. And they are so external, artificial, excitement. External, artificial excitement. No excitement. No excitement. And I was thinking, this is so miserable. This is hellish. Nothing is there, and these people are thinking that oh, it's an event of the year. अरे कुछ है ही नहीं ऐसे ऐसे करने से क्या फायदा है ना isn't that yeah like that you see how much joy is there in Mangalarti when Mayapur Mangalarti Darshanarti you see Aditacharya appearance day not Aditacharya is appearing you see the juice you see the juice see the juice. And this is for everyone. I was very young in Krishna consciousness, Mayapur Yatra. Radhan Maharaj would bring us back at 1 o'clock in the night. At 6, 7 o'clock the buses would start. Still I will go for 4:30 Mangalar. I couldn't help. Not because I was very, this thing, elevated or whatever. The point is the vibrations are so strong. Not just, I told you this before. One time, one Westerner, I believe he was a European fellow, he came to our temple, Albert Road. He said, I don't believe in God. What is this God? But I don't believe in God. So this devotee was talking to him, tried some reasons, this fellow not getting convinced. He said, I don't believe, I care a fig, I don't care. So this devotee told him, ठीक है, मेरे से तो नहीं सुन रहे आप, you just go and stay 1 week in Mayapur. Yeah. So this fellow followed, he went to Mayapur, he was not believing in God. So when he came back, it was with dhoti kurta, tilak and bidwal. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Satya Durgatna hai. On the way. Satya, it's a true thing. This fellow. He said all my questions got answered. You see the point. Even a fool can feel the vibrations there. That is the point. Even the fool can feel the vibrations. And not like, nothing is there and like that.
They are totally don't like actual animals. They get scared by such loud voices and also animals get disturbed when they are.
That's the point. And nowadays, modern day, songs are like that you don't understand the lyrics on like किसके लिए नाच रहे हो? Whose tunes you are jumping up and down? So that's the point. So one can actually see and experience. So the point is the practice of bhakti. The practice will not keep on theoretical. That's the point. Because one can see everything with full realization. Therefore, it is said, if you are convinced, then practice enthusiastically or practice hard. If you are not convinced, still you can practice hard because practice will give conviction. But however, what the Lord is describing here is that churning, that inward pull is going to help us to get that faith, that conviction, to go forward. Yeah, so that way it's very interesting and exciting, is it?
Bhagavad is full of analysis of other devotees' life only, so that we can take lessons from that. Because, we don't feel like following fully because we have still false material forms. So from the life of other devotees, whether it's Bhagavad or it will get revealed that there is no green grass in our life. So we are really stubborn. We don't want to follow fully. That's why, as the second, like doctor says, take medicine. We don't submit to the doctor. We keep changing doctors.
Yes.
Because we don't understand really our disease is so serious. So that's why we show the analysis of other case report. This happened, that happened. Then the person gets scared. Oh, my eyes is fearful. I should not. Then I should take doctor's medicine as well as I should follow the. So that's why that analysis and intelligence, the severity of disease and healthy situation both need to be explained by the expert physician.
Yes, that's what. Yes, so that is what is being explained here. That one does some homework on his own part, then that rocky type stubbornness will get loosened, and then one can be picked up. So that's why the self-initiative, the self-instructing mode works good. The self-instructing mode takes us to grab and rivet to the association. know. So that's what that has to be understood. The self-instructing mode cannot take us back to Godhead, but can take us to association.
इसमें सब दोनों चीजें फुल अवेलेबल है मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में, तो पता नहीं लगता सही क्या है गलत क्या है, क्योंकि लोग गलत चीजें भी पूरे कॉन्फिडेंस से कर रहे हैं, ऐसा लगता है ये लाइफ शायद सही है, तो उसका डिस्क्रिमिनेशन तो हमको शास्त्र से है.
Yes. So when we take to the right shelters, we get the strength to discriminate and to stand by that discrimination. Okay, so I think we'll stop here.